News travels slowly in Hudson, but when it does, it spreads like wildfire. The first whispers came from the feed store. Someone overheard Jack talking to a man in a dusty brown coat. Then a truck was spotted just outside the ranch gates, parked. They're longer than anyone thought normal. It was the kind of small-town mystery that gets the whole community leaning closer, waiting for the truth to come out. And this time, the truth came in the form of a face nobody in Heartland had seen before. Season 19 will introduce one of the most talked about casting choices in years of fresh but familiar presence to Canadian television. The new actor, with eyes that seem to carry 1,000 untold stories, steps into the role of Cole Jennings, a man with a past as wild as the foothills and a connection to the Bartlett family that no one saw coming. Cole isn't just another drifter looking for work. He's a horseman with a reputation half legend, half cautionary tale. Those who've heard of him say he can calm a horse just by looking at it, but they also say trouble follows him like a shadow. The moment Cole rides into the ranch, the tone shifts. Amy senses it before he even speaks. There's something in the way he moves, slow and steady, as if measuring every inch of the place. Jack knows that look. He's seen it before in men who've come to Heartland not just for a job, but for something deeper. But Jack also knows men like Cole bring both gifts and burdens, and it's never easy to tell which one you'll get first. This casting choice is no accident. Fans will recognize the actor from past roles that blended quiet strength with unpredictable edges. In Heartland, that's a dangerous combination because while the ranch is built on trust and loyalty, it has no patience for secrets. And Cole Jennings, he's full of them. Amy tries to keep her distance at first. She's had enough change in her life, and another stranger with a charming smile and a mysterious past isn't exactly on her list of things she needs. But Heartland has always been about the horses, and when a skittish colt refuses to be touched by anyone, Cole steps forward. One gentle motion, a soft word, and the colt calms like it's known him forever. That's when Amy realizes whether she likes it or not. This man has a gift that could help the ranch. Still, not everyone is convinced. Tim sees Cole as competition from the start, though he won't admit why. Lisa is polite but guarded. Even Jack, who's known more than his share of horsemen, keeps his cards close. And then there's the unspoken question hanging over everyone. Why now? Why? After all these years, is Cole Jennings showing up at Heartland's door? The new casting means new energy, new conflicts, and new alliances. Cole's presence will ripple through every storyline. For Amy, it's about learning to trust someone whose past could undo everything she's worked for. For Jack, it's about facing old choices that may have led to this very moment. And for the audience, it's the start of a season where no one, not even the most loyal Heartland fan, can guess how it will all play out. One thing's certain, Cole Jennings isn't here by accident. And by the time the snow melts in Hudson, the ranch will never be the same again. It's just little things. A phone call taken outside in the cold, away from the warm light of the house. A quick glance at a letter he keeps folded in his jacket pocket, as if it holds something he doesn't want anyone to see. And then there's the way he sometimes disappears into Hudson without saying where he's going. Amy tries to brush it off. She's seen strangers come and go, each carrying their own ghosts. But Heartland has a way of drawing those ghosts into the open, and it's not long before someone notices that Cole is spending time at an old property just beyond the far ridge land that used to belong to the Bartlett family before it was sold off years ago. Jack doesn't say anything at first, but it eats at him. That land has its own stories, and none of them are simple. The first real crack comes one frosty morning when Tim, doing what Tim does best, snooping under the excuse of helping out, finds a stack of old documents in Cole's truck. They're weathered, yellowed with age, and stamped with the Bartlett name. Land deeds, loan agreements, and one final letter, signed decades ago, that talks about a debt never settled. Tim brings it straight to Jack, half out of mischief and half out of genuine concern. When Jack sees the papers, his jaw tightens. The past has been knocking at his door ever since Cole arrived, but now it's kicked the door wide open. The documents tell a story of a promise his father made to Bill Jennings, a promise Jack never knew about. It was supposed to be paid in money, but over the years, it became tangled in pride, misunderstandings, and silence. Jack realizes that, to Cole, this isn't just about finding work at Heartland, it's about claiming what he believes his family is owed. But here's where the twist sharpens. Cole doesn't just want land or money. What he really wants is the chance to prove himself on Heartland's soil, to show that the Jennings name still carries weight in the world of ranching. And if that means stepping into roles that belong to others, so be it. That's where the danger lies. Because if he's as good as he claims, if his hands really can work miracles with horses, he could earn the trust of people Amy and Jack hold dear. Amy finds herself caught in the middle. She can't deny Cole's skill, especially after he helps her with a horse that even she thought was beyond saving. But every time she looks at him, she wonders if she's helping a man rebuild, or giving him the tools to take something away. Lisa advises caution. Lou warns that the ranch can't afford another divided loyalty. Tim, predictably, fans the flames, suggesting that Cole's next move might be to make Heartland his own. The audience will feel it, the slow tightening of the rope around these characters. Trust becomes fragile. Meals at the big table are quieter, eyes lingering too long, words wait before they're spoken. The ranch still runs, the chores still get done, but underneath, something is shifting. And it's not just about Cole anymore, it's about the idea that Heartland, a place built on family and tradition, might not be as untouchable as everyone thought. That'd be why the end of this section of the story. One thing is certain, Cole Jennings didn't come here to be just another ranch hand. His reasons are deeper, older, and far more dangerous. And whether the Bartlett-Fleming family is ready or not, the truth about his past and his intentions is coming. Spring arrives in Hudson with the kind of wind that rattles the barn doors and carries the smell of change across the fields. By now, Cole Jennings is no longer a stranger at Heartland. He's worked beside Amy in the round pen, shared coffee with Jack before sunrise, and even managed to win a rare nod of approval from Tim, though Tim would never say it out loud. To anyone looking in from the outside, it might seem like Cole has finally found his place, but inside the family, cracks are starting to show. Lou sees the way Jack watches Cole, not with the pride of a mentor, but with the guarded eyes of a man waiting for a blow that hasn't landed yet. Amy feels torn every time she works with Cole. She sees what he can bring to Heartland, the kind of skill and instinct that could help the ranch thrive. And yet, that folded letter in his jacket pocket still haunts her. She's never asked what it says. She's afraid of the answer. The turning point comes on a quiet afternoon. Jack, alone in the barn, finally confronts Cole. The conversation is calm at first, two men speaking in measured tones, careful not to break the fragile peace they've kept. But as old truths are spoken, the temperature rises. Jack admits that the debt from years ago is real, that his father's promise to Bill Jennings was never fulfilled. Cole listens, eyes steady, and then says the words that change everything. "I'm not here for your land, Jack. I'm here for my father's name, and I'll do whatever it takes to make sure people remember it." It's not a threat, but it feels like one. Jack knows that in a world like theirs, a man's name can carry as much weight as a deed or a herd of cattle. And if Cole means to carve his name into Heartland's history, he might not stop at being a helping hand. The final moments build with quiet intensity. A letter arrives in the mail, addressed to Cole but delivered to the house. Amy, holding it in her hands, hesitates. The envelope is from a law office in Calgary. She doesn't open it, but she can feel the weight of it, legal weight, the kind that can shift the ground under a ranch. Cole takes it without a word, thanks her, and walks away. She watches him go, the wind lifting the dust around his boots. And she knows that whatever's inside that envelope will decide the next chapter for all of them. Jack stands at the fence line that evening, looking out at the land his family has worked for generations. Beside him, Lisa quietly slips her hand into his. Neither speaks, but both are thinking the same thing. Heartland has weathered storms before, but this one is different. This one has a face, a name, and a purpose. As the sun dips behind the hills, Cole leads a young colt into the corral. The horse follows him without hesitation, as if it's known him its whole life. From the porch, Amy watches, and for the first time, she wonders if Heartland's future might not just be in the family's hands anymore. It happened in a way no one expected. After years of heartbreak, years of carrying pain that felt too heavy to ever put down, Amy finally saw him again. Ty was standing there alive, real, and close enough to touch. The world around them seemed to stop. For fans who have waited for this moment, the reunion is not just another scene. It's a promise kept. It's a story of love finding its way back. Even when everything seemed lost, the moment begins with silence. No words, no explanations. Just Amy turning and realizing who is standing in front of her. For a long second, she doesn't believe it. Her eyes widen, her breath catches, and the weight of all the years apart crashes over her at once. She has dreamed of this moment so many times that part of her fears it's only another dream. But Ty does not disappear. He looks at her the same way he once did, softly, gently, with a love that never truly left. Amy doesn't run to him right away. That detail is important. The writers chose to show her hesitation because it makes the reunion more real. When someone you've lost suddenly returns, your heart doesn't know whether to leap forward or hold back. You're torn between joy and disbelief. And Amy shows that perfectly. Her hand shakes, almost reaching for him, but she stops. She searches his face as though she's trying to read every line, every scar, to make sure it's not a trick. Ty, on the other hand, does not move either. He just lets her see him. It's as though he knows she needs this moment to study him, to convince herself he is real. His silence speaks louder than any words. His eyes carry the story of everything he's been through, everything that kept him away, and everything that brought him back. This is where the scene begins to hit deeper, because it isn't just about a man returning. It's about two souls finding each other after being torn apart by fate. Then finally, Amy takes one step forward. Her voice is quiet, almost broken, when she whispers his name, Ty. And in that single word, years of sorrow melt into hope. When Amy finally steps closer, the tension breaks. It's not a rush, not a desperate sprint like in a movie where people collide into each other. Instead, it is something slower, more fragile, as if both of them are afraid that moving too fast might make the moment disappear. Amy's steps are cautious, almost trembling, and yet she cannot stop herself. She has carried the weight of missing him for so long that her body moves before her mind can catch up. Ty does not move until she reaches him. It's his way of giving her control, of letting her decide if this reunion is truly what she wants, truly what her heart can accept. And when she finally touches him, her hand on his chest, it's as if the world itself exhales. She feels his heartbeat under her palm, strong and steady. That heartbeat is proof. Proof that he is here. Proof that he is alive. Proof that her pain was not the end of their story. Her tears come quickly. Not loud, not dramatic, but quiet tears that fall down her face without her even noticing. They aren't just tears of joy. They are tears for all the nights she spent alone, for all the moments she wished he was there, for all the times she told herself she had to move forward. Every tear is a piece of her grief leaving her body. And Ty lets her cry. He doesn't rush to speak. He doesn't try to explain. He only opens his arms, and when Amy falls into them, it is the most natural thing in the world. The embrace is not one of passion, but of relief. Relief that the pain is finally over. Relief that even after years apart, their bodies still fit together as if no time had passed. Amy presses her face against his chest, and Ty holds her tightly, his chin resting gently on her hair. For a long time, neither of them says a single word, and that silence is everything. It says more than dialogue ever could. It says, I missed you. I never stopped loving you. I am home. After the words are spoken, there is still a heavy silence between them, not heavy with sorrow, but with the weight of what this means. This is not just a reunion. It is a turning point. A moment that will change everything for them and for their family. Amy knows that having Ty back doesn't erase the past. The pain, the loss, the lonely nights, they will always be a part of her. But now, they no longer define her. Now, she has a future again, and it is standing right in front of her. Ty, too, feels the gravity of this moment. He looks around at the ranch, at the home that has always been both a refuge and a battlefield for him. He remembers the struggles he faced here, the family that welcomed him, and the love he built with Amy. And standing there, with her in his arms, he knows this is where he belongs. This is where his journey was always meant to lead. The embrace turns softer now, less desperate, more certain. Amy leans against him not because she fears losing him, but because she trusts he will stay. Ty kisses the top of her head, a simple gesture, but one filled with unspoken promises. And in that quiet moment, it feels as though the ranch itself breathes easier. The land, the house, the horses, they all carry the history of Amy and Ty's love, and now they will carry its rebirth. For fans, this scene is more than just television. It's the reward for years of patience, the answer to countless prayers and theories. It proves that love stories can survive even the darkest storms, and that sometimes, against all odds, people find their way back to each other. The reunion doesn't erase the pain of the past seasons, but it gives it meaning. Every struggle, every tear, every lonely night was leading to this, a moment of healing, a moment of hope. And as the scene closes with Amy and Ty standing together, framed by the wide-open skies of Heartland, one truth becomes clear. This reunion is not the end of their story. It is only the beginning of a new chapter, one filled with second chances, family, and love stronger than ever before. The last time we saw the Bartlett-Fleming family, Heartland was standing at a crossroads. Amy had finally found some sense of balance after the storms of the past few seasons, but the peace felt fragile, like the calm before a hard winter wind. Jack had been holding the ranch together, but age and the constant battles with change were starting to weigh on him. Tim was still Tim, full of plans, full of mistakes, but there was a look in his eyes that hinted at a man thinking about his own legacy. Season 18 left us with questions hanging in the air like storm clouds. The cattle prices were falling, and the ranch had taken on more than it could handle. Amy was trying to juggle her work with the horses, her role as a mother, and the endless demands of keeping Heartland running. Lou was caught up in her own responsibilities as mayor, but even she knew that the ranch was facing challenges that couldn't be solved with a quick town meeting. And then there were the quieter, smaller moments, the kind of moments that fans of Heartland know can be just as important as the big dramas. Lisa had been watching Jack a little too closely, like she knew something he wasn't saying. Georgie's absence was still a wound for Amy, though she wouldn't admit it out loud. And deep down, everyone seemed to feel that the next chapter was going to bring something, or someone, that none of them were ready for. By the end of season 18, the ranch was dealing with more than financial troubles. There was tension in the air, a strange kind of restlessness that made even the horses uneasy. Ty's absence still lingered like a shadow, a reminder of everything they'd lost and everything they were still trying to protect. Amy had her head down, working harder than ever, but even she couldn't ignore the signs, the way Jack sometimes stared off into the distance, the way Tim seemed to be hiding a decision he wasn't ready to share. Heartland has always been about family, love, and the connection to the land. But now, it feels like those very things are about to be tested. The world outside the ranch is changing fast, and for the first time in years, change is coming to Heartland itself. Not the kind of change you can plan for, not the kind you can ease into, but the kind that arrives with a bang, sets everything spinning, and leaves you wondering where you'll be standing when the dust settles. And in that brewing storm, somewhere beyond the hills, the sound of hoofbeats is growing louder. A stranger is on their way, carrying stories, secrets, and choices that will pull the Bartlett-Fleming family into a new chapter, one they didn't ask for, but one they can't escape.